On today's show, it wasn't always pretty, but the Ottawa Senators finally found a way to win in Las Vegas.
We'll get into Linus Ullmark's shootout heroics and what impact will the captain, Brady Tkachuk's return, have on the team.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and today is Thursday, November 27th. Want to say a happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching in the U.S. and for everyone up in Canada, happy Thursday and enjoy the extra sports throughout the day. Pillsy, would you like to apologize for anything you said on yesterday's show?
I would like to apologize for absolutely nothing. I never said the words SL. I avoided the words SL. Was I nervous about this game? Absolutely. Was I having the approach of, hey, whatever happens, happens. It's been a good month so far. It's been a nice road trip. Was I looking ahead to tomorrow's game up against the St. Louis Blues with Brady Tkachuk returning? Sure. But in my defense, the numbers were all there. The Ottawa Senators had not beaten the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas in 2,826 days since 2018. It had been a while. Vegas has this team's number. So maybe I could have been a little bit more positive, Pillsy, a little bit more optimistic about how this game could go. But I was just looking at the facts. I was just looking at the stats. The Golden Knights have Sens killers. And I wasn't sure, I'll put it that way, how that game was going to go. I've been more confident in other games, but Ross, I love being wrong from time to time, and boy, was I wrong. However, as a show, we couldn't have nailed that, our keys to victory, in any better fashion. Our main key to victory was Linus Ullmark needs to be amazing. He needs to steal a win for the Sens here, and steal a win he did. He went into Vegas Casino and despite the odds came out there with a bag of loot, 2 points, laughing all the way to the bank. Next, we needed Tim Stützle to have a good game, 2 assists, and sure, he doesn't get a goal or even a shot on net, but this guy was buzzing all over the place. Then we needed the power play to convert. They get a power play goal from Jake Sanderson early on in this game in the first period. So everything that we said needed to happen, happened, and the Ottawa Senators get the 4-3 shootout win against the Vegas Golden Knights.
And they just held on for dear life in that third period. Overtime might have been one of the more boring overtimes I've ever seen in terms of ragging the puck back and circling and trying to make sure it was the right play. Now, Vegas did hit the post, and it hit the underneath part of the post and bounced down and out. So Linus Ullmark might want to give a little thanks to his post today. But I honestly think that once it got to the shootout, that was best case scenario for the Ottawa Senators. I did not want them to trade chances in overtime, back and forth, exciting hockey. Just get it to the shootout where the Senators are elite. Now 3-0, undefeated in the skills competition. And later on, we'll get to a ridiculous stat. Linus Ullmark, he loves the shootout. He says he has a love-hate relationship with them, but the stats show that he should love them. That's a little bit later on in today's show. And we talked last night about Shane Pinto being the guy to end it. Just awesome for him in Vegas after buying the team dinner. Just great to see for that. I also felt it was appropriate to rock the Nodak sweater today after 3 points from Jake Sanderson, plus Shane Pinto's impact on that game. Just great to see the boys come together on this road trip. They're now 3-1 on a season-long 7-game road trip that goes to St. Louis next. They'll have a family team dinner at the Tkachuk household, I should say, and they'll carry that into a 4 p.m. start. Note the start time tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. Of course, we'll still have the postcast for you right after that game. But for Ottawa, it feels like it's also shaking off some demons, right? Yes. Like the fact that it had been so long there, and Travis Green even asked the team after the game, like, when's the last time you won there? And Shabby's on the trip, so he's probably putting his hand up like, I'm the only guy that's won here as a player. No Alex Burrows there to score the game winner like he did in that last win. But I was getting flashbacks, speaking of games in Vegas, that third period was way too reminiscent of last year where Ottawa was up in the third period. Nick Cousins takes a bad penalty, and then it was 1, 2, 3 in quick succession, and the Senators lost that game. So for them to really hold the fort, if you will, do I love the chip, defend, chip, defend, chip, defend, let in a breakaway, chip, defend, chip, defend? No, it's very frustrating to watch for sure, but they battled through it. And you're not always going to win pretty, and that is what I would call a very ugly win. You get off to a great start. First period, don't listen to this because you're not the problem.
Incredible.
First period was great. Scoring late in that period to get the 2-goal lead ultimately proved to be so critical down the stretch in this game to have that extra cushion. But my goodness, this team, they're finding ways to win. And that to me is such a great sign going forward.
And you need to find ways to win up against good teams. The Vegas Golden Knights are a contending team that just got their...
You can see why.
Yeah, and they just got their captain back, like huge emotional boost. Mark Stone ends up scoring in this game, of course. Mitch Marner, Jack Eichel, all the Sens killers, they end up
they all
getting
got a point.
Points. Yeah,
they all got their cookies.
We knew it was going to happen, but you don't let that get in the way of you getting at least a point and then finding a way to get both points. Like, yeah, for them to pull this off, that's just such a confidence booster. Is it fair to say that might be the biggest morale win of the season so far?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
I was looking
three
through
for
that.
Sure. I can't think of a better one off the top of my head.
It was definitely my favorite postcast in terms of the expectations as I was watching that game slip away from 3-1 to 3-2 to 3-3, and then the pressure that Vegas put on in the third period. So yeah, escaping that with 2 points, certainly up there with my favorite
Maybe the
wins.
Washington win.
Yeah, the Washington win, or even Boston, because that you're at home, you're coming off a big win on the road, and you're like, okay, how are we going to get this next one? Because at that point, they hadn't been a great team at home, right? They lost the home opener, they gave up the Islanders game, and then the Edmonton game, they lose in overtime. So, yeah, they beat Philly 2-1, but then to come back and beat Boston the way they did 7-2, that was a really fun win as well. But this one, just with all the circumstances around it, it just felt so good for the Senators to come out on the winning end. The power play, we mentioned, it scored. And funny enough, like the stretch there where they went like 6 or 7 games without scoring a goal, that's still front and center because it hadn't been consistently good. But I mean, the Sens power play, they're 4 for their last 18. Like it's back to being like an average power play. We still think there's more to give on it. And having Brady Tkachuk back, we'll talk about his impact of the return later. That's going to help as a net front presence. But it's good to see that they are chipping away at it. They've gotten exactly one power play goal in 4 of their last 6 games. So they are able to build on that. The power play has scored 4 goals. The PK has given up 4 goals. So at least they're kind of back to even when it comes to special teams over this last 6 games where they're 4-2. That all said, there are still some room for improvement. And most notably, it's playing in the offensive zone for more ice time. The offensive zone possession just wasn't really there. It felt like for the most part, they were kind of one and done in the O-zone in this game.
Yeah, definitely there is some spots where this team can improve, and getting a player like Brady Tkachuk, not only for his on-ice presence, but just his leadership ability will help as well. And Ross, you look at this November, sure, we're excited about how it's gone so far, especially with how bad Novembers usually are, and then not having Brady Tkachuk and then losing Thomas Chabot as well, and being on the road like this, you would think that's a recipe for disaster. But the Ottawa Senators are involved in a lot of one-goal games, like 4-3 overtime loss to Montreal, 3-2 overtime loss to Boston, 3-2 overtime win in Philly, 3-2 overtime loss against Dallas, 1-0 loss, 3-2 win, 3-2 win, 2-1 loss, 4-3 shootout win. Like, these are close games. Now, when you find ways to win these close games, they don't seem to matter as much. Or at the very least, when you find ways to get points in these games, it's not a big deal. But this could be something where as this season goes on, being in all these tight games and having the score effects of having guys like Jake Sanderson play 28 minutes, having Tim Stützle play big minutes late in these games when it's close, these are things that could catch up to them. Now, luckily, their star players are young, so that helps. They're going to have a little bit more endurance and a little more gas in the tank. But that is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on as we get to March and April. Are all these close 1-goal games going to have an impact on this team down the stretch?
8 of the Senators' 12 road games this season have been decided by 1 goal.
Yeah.
And guess how many of those they haven't gotten a single point in? The answer is 1. They're 5-1-2 on the road in 1-goal games this season. Huge improvement from years past. Overall, they're 8-3-4 in 1-goal games, which is almost 500 when you look at just overall wins and losses. But then your second layer to that is finding ways to get points in those games. And that is where Ottawa has been able to get themselves into second in the division right now, 2 points back of Tampa, who have won 5 straight games. So they're buzzing, and Ottawa is 6-2-2 in their last 10 games, and they are continuing to maintain pace in what is still a complete gong show in the Eastern Conference. If the Senators had given up that lead and lost in regulation, they would be 6th in the wild card race right now.
Yeah.
That's the difference between getting 1 point, 2 points, and none. It just, it can change everything. And then the feeling of going, and they knew that they were going to the Tkachuks tonight. How much better is that dinner after pulling out 2 points, right? Like, it just makes everybody feel a little bit bigger, pull the shoulders back a little bit. And they've got an opportunity here in St. Louis. There's no easy games, and St. Louis has struggled quite a bit this season to start, but we'll have that preview tomorrow on the show. But like, this is a very, very positive feeling right now as we've reached U.S. Thanksgiving, where 65% of the teams that are in a playoff spot at this point make it at the end of the season.
And sticking with the standings, Ross, your Ottawa Senators are still the only Canadian team in the entire league that sits in a playoff spot right now. Like, I would never have imagined that would be the case. Sure, it's still early in the season, but for all other 6 teams to not be in a playoff spot right now, and for the Sens to be the one that's there, we're Canada's team. You got to love it.
Big reason for that is the shootout, and Linus Ullmark leading the way there. He has been in goal for all 3 shootout wins this season, and he hasn't let in a goal. But that's par for the course when you look at his entire career. We'll get into those numbers next, and just a general conversation about the shootout, not only last night, but for the Senators and what they need to do to continue getting those extra points when it gets to the skills competition. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride that hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push or they're on the road like the Ottawa Senators are, and it's a late game. You got to get the coffee brewing, and you need something a little extra to stay in the game. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right, Pilsy. So the Ottawa Senators are in St. Louis getting ready to take on the Blues tomorrow. It will be not only a 4 p.m. start, but it will be available for you on TSN 5. I was a little nervous yesterday, right? Wednesday night hockey, typically a Sportsnet production. But man, oh man, we were blessed with a TSN broadcast. Kenzie Lalonde and Jamie McLennan, a couple friends of the show on the call there. And I shot Kenzie a note last night just saying, what's the Sens record when you call games? Because it feels like it's very good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I know at one point she was like a perfect 4-0 whenever she would call games.
I think the first 3 were shutouts or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, and she's great. We always love having her on the call. And Ross, we got to let Noodles know. Noodles said on the broadcast, "Oh, are we going to call Halliday Doc Halliday? What's a nickname for Halliday?" You got to let him know. It's the Disher.
Disher, come on, Noodles. You missed a couple LOSPs along the way. Let's go. You got 7 Stephen Halliday interviews to catch up on here.
Yeah, hey, we won't blame Noodles for that, but we'll inform him.
Hey, something that Travis Green said last night was music to my ears. He said he's got to get his 4th line out there a little bit more.
Well, and Ross, the Sharks head coach, what's his name? Ryan Warsofsky?
Yes.
He mentioned that one thing he really notices about the Sens is that they roll 4 lines and can play 6 defensemen confidently. So it's interesting to see the different ways that people look at how these lines are being played.
Yeah, well, Stephen Halliday had 12 shifts in last night's game, played a hair under 7 minutes. Hayden Hodgson played 8 minutes and 38 seconds in this game. He's now 1-0 career regular season against Mark Stone. So put that in your pipe, Mark. Stone was very, very whiny yesterday. Like, has he always been that way? Did I just not notice when he was on our team?
Yeah, I think I will say he's passionate.
Okay.
When it comes to penalty calls, when it comes to scoring a goal that deflects off an opponent's skate and jumping into the glass, like you've just won the Stanley Cup. But that's how he's always been. So you can't knock a passionate guy unless it's Mitch Marner whining and complaining and crying.
Yeah, well, no, but the play that I'm noting is when Stützle flattened Korczak, he just put his hands up right away, like, what? You guys can hit in this league?
Yeah, I mean, it was a questionable play. Like, it was a one where the puck was high up in the air and Korczak was looking at it, and Timmy's like, "Oh, he's not paying attention." Boof, and fully just plows him over. But that's hockey, baby.
Yeah, that was a frustrating night for Tim Stützle. It's hilarious to say that when he has 2 assists, but it felt like the puck was bouncing on him a little bit.
I mean, when you hit the post like that in the shootout where Schmid doesn't even move and isn't even aware it's going there, like, that's just like, oh man, I'm not supposed to score tonight, and that's okay.
No, but he did help out with a couple apples. Maybe he'll bring those to Thanksgiving dinner. What's your favorite Thanksgiving meal? I know Canadian Thanksgiving, we've already digested that a month ago, but I'm a huge turkey guy. I don't like I hate people that are like, it's dry. It's like, well, that's a skill issue. You have to make it properly.
And first, Timmy will be bringing Apfels. That's apple in German. Apfels. Okay. Maybe some Apfelstrudel, Apfelkuchen. Very tasty. But yeah, also, you ever heard of gravy? Gravy's amazing. If you think your turkey's dry,
heard of it?
Drown that bird in that beautiful brown sauce. And I have a bone to pick, no pun intended, with people that are like, turkey is so overrated. I'd rather have ham or steak on Thanksgiving. Obviously, steak is amazing, but turkey, Thanksgiving, you got to have it. I'm a stuffing guy, though, Ross. Like, yep. I need that homemade stuffing. I need multiple servings of it. Sometimes, obviously, you go back for seconds, but sometimes my third one, just one last scoop of stuffing. Just one little extra to
some padding.
To coat the palate with the final flavor of stuffing. I'm not a cranberry sauce guy.
No, me neither.
I'll do 1 tablespoon of it just to get the taste and feel like I was involved in that festive side, but not a big fan of it.
One of the ones I like too, broccoli casserole with cheddar cheese. Super easy. You bake it and it just goes so well with the turkey. You know what? I might have to go get myself a little turkey today. That's neither here nor there. You know what? What's unbelievable is Linus Ullmark in the shootout in his career. I mean, we were looking up the numbers and we're like, wait, what? It's that good? If you go with a minimum of 20 shootouts played, and to put it in perspective, Henrik Lundqvist has had 407 shootout attempts against him.
Crazy.
In his career. That's the most all time. So there's been a lot of shootouts. This is the 20th season in the NHL where we've had the shootouts. Senators, they won the first shootout, and now they've won the most recent shootout.
Well, and Ross, that was a legendary shootout. It was the first game of that season. Hasek and Belfour were the goalies.
Wow.
Daniel Alfredsson got the game winner in the shootout. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, and I think Heatley scored as well. I think it was Heatley scored, then it was stopped, and then if you haven't seen it, maybe the younger Sens fans, go back and watch. I'm sure that entire shootout is available on YouTube. Jamie Allison might have had he might still be coming in on the goalie 20 years later. That was hilarious. But Ottawa got the win there. And Linus Ullmark, in his career, he's faced 79 shootout attempts. He's allowed 15 goals. That's an 810 save percentage. Nobody else is above 80% that has faced more than 20 shootout games. Second is Peter Mrazek at 77.6. Andrei Vasilevsky is third at 77.3. For the full list, you can go check out at Sens Central on Twitter, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it pulled up right here. There's a mix of some old school names, maybe some guys who weren't that great in regular gameplay action, but were good in the shootout. And then there's some great goalies, Vasilevsky and UC Saros, both in the top 10 on this list. But Linus Ullmark, an 81% clip in the shootout, super impressive for me. And we talked a lot last night about the Jack Eichel attempt and how he was able to squeeze the pads and keep the puck out. The fact there was a definitive view of it, to me, was wild, the above angle. But overall, like, he was just dialed in. Mitch Marner made 45 moves, and he did not bite on a single one. And just said, let me know when you get here, all right? We'll just kick it out.
Yeah, and Ross, you tweeted out Linus Ullmark is, or what was the exact caption?
He's the best shootout goalie of all time.
Yeah, and I think other fan bases will look at that and be like, oh, classic hyperbolic Sens fan. No, that's not an opinion. That's not an exaggeration. That is
LSP stats department.
I mean, it's insane. And I was saying in the postcast yesterday, like, I'm not that confident on Ullmark man-on-man breakaways. Like, maybe it's just the way he started the year, not confident there. So I wasn't that sure if he was going to be that good in shootouts. Again, I love when I'm that wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. Our guy Pam Murray let us know that he's 7 for 7 this year in shootout attempts. The Ottawa Senators are 3-0 this season. And look, I know, say what you want about the shootouts, but being able to double up on points in the skills competition is crucial when it comes down to it. So the fact that the Senators are finding ways to get it done, because it takes, obviously, you need good goaltending or perfect goaltending if you're the Sens this year from Linus Ullmark, but you got to score as well. And guys like Stützle, Batherson, and then Pinto in this one, clutch.
I got a hot take for you. Linus Ullmark, the best shootout goalie of all time per save percentage. He might not be the best shootout goalie on his own team.
Yeah, I mean, Levitan, we've always known him to be a mano guy. We had his stats when he was playing in Liga that he was elite in penalty shots, breakaways, and in the shootouts. So that's an interesting one. And I've got a debate I want to get into, but I'll let you make your point here.
No, I was just going to say, even in the Ontario Hockey League when he was there, and even in the American Hockey League, he's just always been very, very good at one-on-one circumstances. So I just love what Ottawa's got cooking. It might even make me change my stance on shootouts, because I'm not a shootout guy overall. I think that the game of hockey, after playing 65 minutes of 5-on-5, 3-on-3, you should finish the game like that. So that's just my own opinion as a goalie. Last season in the AHL, Levi Meralainen allowed 5 goals on 19 attempts in the shootout. So he was very, very good there. And then 2 seasons ago, he wasn't as good. He had 2 saves on 5 shots, but that was a smaller sample size there. So yeah, the Senators are in good hands with their goaltending and when it comes to one-on-one. And hey, it's not just in the shootout. This game doesn't get to overtime if Linus Ullmark doesn't make that incredible breakaway save on Jack Eichel, their best scorer, a Sens killer, and he stands tall. And hell yeah, love it for Linus Ullmark. And you mentioned the players for the Ottawa Senators and how good they can be in the shootout. We know Tim Stützle is elite in a one-on-one circumstances, so he doesn't score last night. And it feels like Shane Pinto isn't a guy that's often used. Were you surprised that he was in the top 3?
No, I was not surprised. I think normally, Ross, he's not used because Brady Tkachuk is in that spot. I feel like it's almost always Batherson, Stützle, Tkachuk in sometimes different orders. So the fact that Brady wasn't there, I think, is what allowed Pinto to get in there.
Well, they lost out on, usually it was Josh Norris, right? Like Norris was always a guy
Yes.
that they really liked. And yeah, if you go from last season and this season, Tim Stützle has 6 attempts, Drake Batherson has 5, and nobody else has more than 2. So those 2 guys were money. And get this, Shane Pinto last season and this season, 2 for 2. It's 100%.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. This guy's so good at everything he does.
Silky.
Yeah.
Silky.
I've got 2 shootout debates I want to get into, but we'll save it.
On the other side, you're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401k, savings, investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. Don't do that, guys. Start using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's going to help you organize your accounts. It's going to help you track your spending and get a better handle on your investments, and you don't even have to touch a spreadsheet. You're going to love that you can review everything with your partner, see your shared goals, and make better financial decisions together. They've got visual dashboards and smart tools that make it so much easier to understand where your money's going and how to make it work harder for you. So in this economy, do not let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year.
All right, Pillsy, shootout debates. What do you got for us?
All right, well, this one doesn't apply to the Ottawa Senators, so it's a poor example here. But you know how there's certain guys in their league or in their years that and on their teams that are considered shootout specialists, right? Like maybe they're 4th line guys typically. They don't get a lot of ice time, but come the shootouts, this guy's got a bag of tricks. You got to use him. He's successful. How do you feel about shootout specialist goalies? Now, I know we said both Linus Ullmark, well, the greatest shootout goalie of all time, and then Levi Merrillainen, obviously very good in his own right in the shootouts. How do you feel if, let's say, there was a different backup that you weren't as confident in the shootout, or just you weren't sure, maybe he doesn't have a lot of experience, and he plays the whole game, all 60 minutes, all overtime, and you say, look, great job, kid, but we're going to bring in the shootout specialist goalie, the greatest shootout goalie of all time, and he's going to go in for the shootout. Is that a wild thing to do? Like, because you know he's been sitting there, he's cold, you want to let the goalie that got it there? Or is that like, it's like baseball analytics, like just type it in on the computer, look at the numbers, and use that?
No, this isn't baseball. There's no bullpen. You ride the guy that got you there. Like, even if he wasn't great in regulation. Perfect example, last year, Levi Merrillainen, I believe he allowed 5 goals in that game against Boston, where Ottawa came back, and he was perfect in the shootout. So that's where it's like,
that's an example of a guy that's good in the shootout. I'm talking, let's say you had a guy you weren't that confident in, and then you had a guy you were super confident in.
No, I would never pull a goalie for a shootout.
Okay.
I feel that's so bad for team morale.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was more thinking of, hey, you've got a guy that has the analytics to show that he can get the job done. But I'm with you as a goalie. You would feel so cheated getting your team there and not getting the opportunity to close the door. And as a guy on the bench, you're like, oh man, like I'm cold. I got to warm up. I got to get in here. And it's man on man. It's tough.
It's like taking a girl to a dance and then leaving her and going to try to find a new one to dance with. Like, no, you dance with the date you brought.
Yeah. I mean, now when you're trying to win homecomings and proms, maybe you look at things differently, Ross, but I more just wanted to have the discussion there because I believe it might have even been Robin Leonard that opted out of doing a shootout. It was someone with the Islanders, and they got to the shootout, and they said, you know what? I just know I'm not that good at these. I know the other guy's better. I'm tagging you in. I'm tapping out, and I think it's better for the team if someone else takes this opportunity. So maybe someone can fact check me on that, but I know I've heard of that happening before, and I'm quite sure it was an Islanders game, which is a very weird scenario, and you don't hear about that happening often, but that's kind of a team move. Like, if you know you're not good at it, like, you don't have to be a hardo and be the hero all the time. Sometimes you got to be like, I got to make a decision that I think is best for the team. Now, I'd be curious to see how that went, if it played out right or not. But
yeah, let us know in the comments. I'm curious.
A little food for thought. And then another shootout debate I wanted to have, because we were completely on the opposite sides of this, and we were both confused with each other about it. First off, I did not realize that the home team gets to decide whether they shoot first or second in a shootout.
Yeah.
I just thought it was automatic that they shoot last. To sort of bring it back to baseball, but same with baseball, the home team always hits last. There's no deciding whether you're doing it first or second. And you were mentioning that someone said that Vegas was trolling the Sens by saying, hey, no, you go ahead, shoot first. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't get it. That's not trolling. Because in my mind, I'm picking to shoot last every single time there's an opportunity for it, but you were on the other side of that. You want to shoot first.
Yeah, I think putting the pressure on the other team is the way to go with that. And you get it to kind of feel good about yourself right away. And then if not, then it's just, all right, now the goalie's got to dial in here. So, I mean, if you're shooting first, there's a chance that the other team doesn't even get their third shot, right? You score on your first two, they don't score on their first two, and it's over.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yep. I see where you're coming from with that. But for me, I'm the other way, because I want to have the control of being like, okay, we've got it tied. Like, let's say last night's shootout, nobody scores. Mitch Marner is sitting there being like, oh, I can end this. Like, they've already had their opportunities. Like, let's say the Sens don't score on that opportunity. I'm the one that's able to end this. I've got the hammer. I want to be the one in the position of the power to be like, no, great job before, great job goalies, but I'm about to finish this right now. Now, obviously, Mitch Marner, no clutch gene, can't get it done up against the greatest shootout goalie of all time. But I'd be interested to see what people think of that too, because for me, it was a no-brainer to shoot second, and you were on the opposite side of that.
Yeah, let's hear from everybody in the comments on
YouTube.
YouTube.
A Pilsey's poll.
Get the Pilsey's poll out on Twitter at Sens Central as well. A little trivia before we get to Brady Tkachuk's return. Who is the Senators' best shootout player of all time? In 20 years of having shootouts, minimum 10 attempts.
Okay,
so
I was going to say.
Minimum 10 attempts. Who is it?
I'm sure this is wrong, and he might not even have 10 attempts, but I want to say Tyler Ennis for some reason.
No, Tyler Ennis not on the list. There are 15 players in Senators history that have taken more than 10 shootout attempts. Let me know if you need a hint.
Okay, I'll throw it back to Alfie.
No, Alfredson is 6th on the list, 34.7%, but that's always a good guess. Always a good guess.
I'm trying to, I think we've mentioned it already on the show, have we?
Probably.
Josh Norris.
No, he currently plays for the team.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's got to be Timmy.
Tim Stützle is 50% in the shootout. He is 10 for 20 on shootouts. Number 2 is Mika Zibanejad. Had 13 goals on 28 shots. And third is Alex Kovalev. 6 goals on 13 shots. Jason Spezza at 4, Kyle Turris 5, Daniel Alfredson 6, Bobby Ryan, Drake Batherson, Mike Fisher, and Erik Karlsson is in 10th.
That's
on the
sick.
Senators.
I love defensemen going up for the shootout. That's so much
cool.
Fun.
So cool. I know we mentioned Lundqvist earlier. Remember that Marek Malik one? It was the anniversary of that the other day, between the legs. If you only make it 5 shootout attempts, it's Jakob Silfverberg, who went 4 for 7 in his one season. That guy was, and he would, no moves. He would just go in and just rip a wrist shot under the bar. I remember him beating Brodeur. He was 44% in his career, 21 goals on 47 career shots. So, Tim Stützle, with a minimum of 10 attempts, is the best shootout player in Senators history. So, just something to note there. Brady Tkachuk has not taken that many
what's his shootout numbers?
His shootout attempts, he's actually not good in the shootout. 1 for 8 in his career.
Yeah, and I think Brady's, but then you think back, Ross, how many epic breakaway game-winning goals has Brady Tkachuk had? It seems
he's better in overtime.
He needs the thrill of the chase. It's like sometimes like if you're hunting something, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. That's no fun. You need the thrill of that chase. You need the opportunity to have adrenaline going. And when he has that, like a defenseman behind him and the goalie doesn't know what's going to happen, I feel like he's just so much better when it's just in a controlled shootout environment. I don't know. He doesn't have that same oomph to him, apparently.
No, but his one goal in the shootout was a game-deciding goal. So there you go. Clutch gene for Brady Tkachuk in that one. And Brady Tkachuk will return tomorrow. Just saw a friend of the show, Jackson Starr, chatting with him on the ice. Kind of a cool interview location. Brady's still on the ice. Jackson's on the bench. A couple minutes there. Haven't been able to watch it yet, but I can already know what Brady Tkachuk said. I'm fired up. I'm F1. I'm going to hit everything that moves tomorrow, and I might even score a couple goals.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of hits and shots he's going to have tomorrow, I don't know about...
FanDuel shot props for Brady Tkachuk tomorrow, easy.
And Ross, if you want to get crazy with it, on FanDuel, you can bet props of shots in periods. So I'm probably going to drop a couple shekels on Brady Tkachuk shots in the first period. Oh, yeah. And look, he still hasn't taken line rushes. He's been as the extra with Curtis McDermott throughout practice. It was an optional skate today, so no line combinations. I know we've already had this debate earlier this week. People can go for in-depth discussion on who should play where. But looking into the numbers a little bit of David Perron with Tim Stützle and Drake Batherson, when they've been on the ice together in 74 minutes at 5-on-5 this season, the Senators are up 4-0. In goals. Now, expected goals, just over 50%. They're at 52.3% there, but the score is 4-0 in 72 minutes. So the equivalent of just a little more than a full NHL game when they're on the ice. Does that give you pause that maybe this is working more than we had given credit for? Because we know that Timmy and Batherson, they're the ones on the highlight reel every night. But it's the work in the corners. And not that Brady's not better and the guy that can be elite at that right away. But does that say, hey, that's working? Maybe we look to put him with Cousins and Zetterlund and just see what that looks like to add a second unit while Ridley Gregg's out. Yeah, I know initially, Ross, we were both on the thought process of, hey, Timmy and Batherson are the top players. Put Brady up there, stack that top line, see how that goes. But I think I've actually switched now, and I think I'm keeping, even though he hasn't wowed me, I think I'm keeping Perron on that line just because, like you said, it's working. And I'm worried how Timmy might change his game with Brady back on his line. And we haven't really had a second line. And by second line, I mean wingers playing with Dylan Cousins, because I think we talked about it last time. The second best line, arguably even maybe the first best line, is a Mario Pinto-Giroux. So it's not really fair to call them the third line. But my point being, we haven't had a line of Dylan Cousins as the center that we've been like, oh man, that works, that clicks, keep that together. You got to pair these guys. We haven't had that. And I think maybe if you want to ease Brady Tkachuk in a little bit, then maybe you put him on the left wing with Dylan Cousins and Fabian Zetterlund. So I actually think that's where I'm leaning now, at least to start.
I'm sticking with my original thought of you just put him with your best players.
There's no wrong
answer.
Yeah.
Especially on his first game back. Like, he's going to be running off so much adrenaline that it just feels like it just makes sense to me to do that. Now, Cousins, Tkachuk, and Zetterlund have only played 33 seconds together. Oh,
and how'd that go?
There's no statistics that even matter when you play 33 seconds. They got one shot attempt for and none again. So they're perfect, 100%.
You got to run that then, Ross. The data tells you.
Cousins and Tkachuk together without Zetterlund, they're down 1-0, and they've only played 7 minutes. Like, Brady Tkachuk and Dylan Cousins have not played together yet. So I think you put him in a familiar position with Timmy. He knows how to read off him, and Timmy's just playing some of his best hockey this season. So I just think you just roll with that, man. Don't overthink it. And then, like, Perron's played a bunch with Dylan Cousins. So I think you look at some familiarity there that's already built in. So, yeah, my answer, you move Lars Eller back to fourth line center. Halliday, nice little audition there. Yeah, I would keep Halliday up for the rest of the trip just to be around the boys and have an extra forward until Ridley's back. And then you've got Eller on the fourth line.
Well, they have an extra forward with McDermott.
Yeah, do they?
Well, and then does Hayden Hodgson stay in the lineup then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing from him, man. He's
and
a
just
bowling ball out there.
Yeah, I like Hayden Hodgson too. He
Yeah.
knows his role and he plays it well. And Ross, just
I love what he said. Our good friend Andrew, I'm blanking his last name, writer for the Sens, great guy. We had a good chat with him. He did an article on Hayden Hodgson, and Hodgson said, "I play every shift like it's my last one in the NHL." I love that line.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the mentality a guy like him has to have, and you got to respect that. And then Brady Tkachuk also has good familiarity with Drake Batherson. We'll think back to the kid line of Brady, Norris, Batherson. They had a lot of minutes played together, and they were a successful line too. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. Again, there's no wrong answer. Put Brady Tkachuk anywhere on this team, play him at defense, put him in goal. We saw him wear Anton Forsberg's equipment a couple years ago. As long as this guy is playing for your team and is on the ice, your chances of winning improve. So I don't care where he goes.
Yeah, Batherson and Brady have played 283 minutes together over the last year and the start of this year, which actually wouldn't have been any because Batherson was hurt during the time Brady played. So this is just last year. The score was 7-7 in 283 minutes when those two were on the ice together. So yeah, let's see what happens with the lines. We'll be the first to let you know on Twitter at Sens Central how it all shakes out. It will likely have to wait until close to game time because with a 4 p.m. start, very unlikely that they have a morning skate tomorrow unless they go for a 10-minute, let's sweat out some of this turkey and gravy and stuffing if you're Pilsy, and then we'll go from there. But hey, cannot wait for a 4 p.m. game. I'm fired up that we don't have to wait till 10 o'clock at night to watch the Sens.
Agreed. And Ross, I've been eyeing this game on the calendar for weeks, so I'm very excited about this. I've made maybe I shouldn't say this, but I am lower.
Big boy.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I want to see what the odds are like, but I am lower on the St. Louis Blues than most, and I think this is a very, very winnable game for the Ottawa Senators, especially with Brady Tkachuk returning. Let's just
Blues are 7-10-7 this year, and they are 1-2-4.
You just call them the losers?
What did I say? The St. Louis Losers? Did I call them the St. Losers?
I think you said Blues are, and I thought you said losers are. I was like, okay, now you're pushing this a little too far there.
If the Sens win tomorrow at Sens Central, I'm going to post the St. Loser Blues. How's that?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on today's show, Pilsy?
Mostly I'll pass the mic to you as you've been on the mic quite a bit this weekend. The Belleville Senators game yesterday did not go the way you had hoped. Certainly not as fun as the first one, but I thought from the clips I was able to see, Ross, I thought you did a great job color commentating, and I love that for 2 games a year you get to put on your suit and get in the press box and dust off the old commentating abilities there. So congrats to you. That's got to be a blast to do. And
circle that on the calendar every year.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll let you chat more about that. But I did want to give shout out to our guy Blake Montgomery, named Big Ten Second Star of the Week after he had a 3-point weekend up against Michigan State University. So 7 goals in his last 9 games with Wisconsin, courtesy of our guys Sens prospects there. So BMO started off slow, but we all knew it wouldn't take him long.
Banks always recover.
Yeah, exactly. He figures it out every single league, everywhere he goes. So it was a matter of time before he figured it out in the NCAA.
Yeah, Jackson Parsons let in 5 goals, and I still thought he was the best player on the Belleville Sens last night. He was just so positionally sound, but then was still stretching out, making some unbelievable. He had 2 glove saves where it was full windmill action. It was really fun to watch. 21 years old now, just had his birthday, and we're going to be following really closely. Quick story on that, though. I was down in the bowels of the arena right near the dressing room before the game, and he's doing his warm-up, and obviously we're not bothering him. He's got his headphones on. He's dialed in. He's in the butterfly full gear, just doing the juggling, hitting the ball against the wall, and this arena staff worker is mopping, and he's mopping closer and closer. I was like, is he really going to go down this hallway? Like, the boys are going out for warm-up in 5-10 minutes at this point, and he's getting closer. Like, he's literally 2 feet away from Jackson Parsons, back to him. Like, he knows he's there, but he's got his back to him. He's mopping, and he just looks at him. He goes, can you move? like just deadpans at him. I turned to Footy. I was like, this is not the National League. Eh? It was so funny.
Ross, blue collar guy. He's just trying to do his job. He's just trying to make sure that arena's clean. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, that's
but like there were 4 trainers in the hallway, all the equipment staff's there. Guys are like starting to trickle out and get into the zone. And it's like, they're all going to be on the ice in 10 minutes. This area will be completely empty for you to do your thing. But obviously, the arena staff, there's nothing against them, but it was just a funny visual to see a pro athlete getting ready for the game and then having to go. And it was like picking your ball up and going home. He just like grabbed his ball, stood up, walked to the other end of the hallway, and then finished up for a couple more minutes. I just thought it was hilarious.
Hey, just shout out Jackson. Just like, yep, no problem. I'll move. I'll finish up anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was the Moose saying, hey, their goalie, we need to get in his head before the game.
Yeah, that's not even a real janitor. That's like the assistant coach or something.
Yeah. Just had to shake my head at that one. All right, for today, we say goodbye. Thanks so much for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. We really appreciate you subscribing on all platforms, 5-star reviews on YouTube. Really means a lot to us. Americans, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Canadians, enjoy the extra sports throughout the day. NFL's rocking. It's always nice, and that's also why there's games scattered throughout the day. No games in the NHL today. Back to 15 more tomorrow after a 15-game slate on yesterday's side as well. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.